Hi, I'm Katherine Watts, and this is the first media critique for NTR 606. Today I'm analyzing a TikTok by the account Asian Feed, which has over 100,000 followers on the platform. The video claims that kimchi can remove microplastics from your body, and I'll walk you through it using our 5 domain framework. But first, let's watch it.
A new study found that eating kimchi could help remove microplastics from your body. Let's talk about it. Microplastics are tiny plastic particles that enter the body through contaminated food and water. The smallest ones are fine enough to pass through cells, tissues, and even the blood-brain barrier. Removing them from the body has become one of the bigger concerns in health research worldwide. The study found that a natural bacteria found in kimchi works by binding to microplastics inside the intestine, causing them to clump together and exit the body on their own. In tests on mice, those given the bacteria showed more than a twofold increase in microplastics detected in their waste, meaning the body was flushing them out at a significantly higher rate. Kimchi has already been widely recognized for its gut health benefits. This adds something new to that list. Researchers behind the study called the removal of microplastics from the body crucial to protecting long-term human health. So the fermented Korean dish that has been on tables for centuries may now have a role to play in one of the most modern health problems we face. As always,
Before we look at any claim, we have to look at who's making it. The creator is Michael Lay, co-founder of Asian Feed and Forbes 30 Under 30 media entrepreneur. He has real experience in digital content production, but he does not hold any credentials in nutrition, dietetics, or health science. He's not a registered dietitian, a researcher, or a medical professional. TikTok has no editorial standards or fact-checking process for nutrition content. The short video format shows that this is built for quick consumption, not clinical depth. There are 2 conflicts of interest worth naming. The first, the creator depends on views and engagement for the algorithm, reach, and revenue, which creates a financial incentive to post exciting and oversimplified headlines. Second, the study referenced in the video was funded by the World Institute of Kimchi and the National Research of Foundation of Korea, both of which have a direct financial interest in promoting global kimchi consumption. That funding conflict was never disclosed. The Asian Feed account has over 100,000 followers and over 5 million likes. The general motivation seems to be celebrating Asian cultural foods, but given that funding bias, there is a clear marketing layer embedded in the content. There are 2 claims that we're going to review. The first claim is the explicit one, that is a new study found that eating kimchi can help remove microplastics from the body, based on a twofold increase in microplastic excretion in the data. I pulled the primary study, and it was published in Bioresource Technology in 2026 by Lee et al. Researchers isolated a single bacterial strain called CBA 3656 from kimchi. They grew it in a lab broth, centrifuged it, washed it 3 times in saline, and gave it directly to germ-free laboratory mice. They did not use a whole kimchi. They did not study humans. Under those controlled conditions, the isolated strain did show an increased nanoplastic excretion in mouse feces and bound well to plastics in simulated intestinal fluid. The study authors concluded the CBA 3656 is a promising bioabsorbent that warrants further research. That is a very different conclusion than what the TikTok stated. This is a single preclinical animal model study. It sits near the bottom of the evidence hierarchy, and it's exploratory and mechanistic. So we do not know the human equivalent dose. We have no data on whether this strain survives the full transit through a complex human GI tract, and we have no proof that eating grocery store kimchi delivers enough of the strain to do anything at all. The explicit claim is partially supported by the lab data, but it is severely overstated. As Diekman and colleagues documented in 2023, misinterpreting single studies as definitive evidence for online engagement is one of the primary drivers of nutrition misinformation. Kabata et al. Also noted in 2022 that random social media posts cannot provide reliable nutrition information and that dedicated searches for credentialed professional profiles are needed to find quality content. The implied claim is that regularly eating kimchi will remove microplastics from your body and protect your long-term health and lifespan. The creator never says that directly, but that is what over 13,000 viewers took away. There are 0 human clinical trials showing whole kimchi reduces microplastic burden in your body. There's also no evidence that reducing microplastics would automatically mean a longer or healthier life. In 2024, Mohammed et al. Documents how microplastics contribute to oxidative stress, inflammation, and cellular aging. But that review is built almost entirely on vitro and animal studies using concentrated doses. Neither source provides human clinical evidence for the implied claim. Both claims ignore the species gap, the use of an isolated lab strain instead of whole food, and the complete absence of human trials. Diekman et al. In 2023 highlighted that misrepresenting single studies for engagement is a core driver of nutrition misinformation. Zing and colleagues in 2025 said that 75% of TikTok nutrition content lacks balanced information because the platform structurally rewards oversimplification. This video opens by stating that nanoplastics cross your blood-brain barrier and build up in your organs. That is a fear appeal. The viewer is made to feel physically threatened before the solution appears. It then shows footage of everyday meals and points out microplastics in your water and meat supply, which for anyone with disordered eating just adds more fears to an already stressful list of foods. Then kimchi is dropped in as the instant relief. Anxiety first, solution second. That structure is not accidental. The certainty language does a lot of work here too. The phrase "a new study has found" frames a single mouse model as an established human nutrition fact. The creator also borrows quotes from researchers to make the implied message sound clinically relevant without having to back it up himself. Because there is no personal testimonial or before and after story, the video actually looks more credible than your typical wellness post. That makes the misinformation harder for a regular viewer to spot. The omissions are significant. No mention of germ-free mice, isolated bacterial strain, no dose, bioavailability, no disclosure of funding from the World Institute of Kimchi. The format itself is part of the problem. A short TikTok cannot explain the limitations of a preclinical study, and this creator made no attempt to try. Instead, he uses a shorthand that captures viewers with a dietary recommendation that is backed by no human evidence at all. Diekman and colleagues wrote about this exact pattern in 2023, taking a single preliminary study and packaging it for online engagement is one of the main ways nutrition misinformation spreads today. The likely audience is health-conscious adults between 18 and 40 who regularly use TikTok and are already interested in gut health, clean eating, or Asian food culture. This group has probably heard of microplastics and already carry some anxiety about environmental toxins. They likely do not have a background to critically evaluate a mouse model study, but they recognize words like study and research as credible signals. Zing et al. In 2025 said that TikTok nutrition audiences actively seek content that confirms what they already want to believe. It addresses the scary, uncomfortable problem and offers a simple food-based fix that fits their worldview. The specific harm is not that kimchi is dangerous. The risk is the false sense of security this content creates. A viewer may believe eating kimchi is actively protecting them from environmental toxins when they could actually see a legitimate healthcare provider, or it may delay seeking attention for real symptoms. So while this single video has a moderate reach, the Asian feed account has over 100,000 followers and millions of views and likes. The algorithm is consistently pushing this content to a large and receptive audience. One moderately viewed video is less concerning than a trusted, uncredentialed account repeatedly translating animal research into dietary guidelines at scale. So registered dietitians should be going directly to the primary research. A dietitian has done that here, they would immediately see some of the issues presented. and that gives the clinician a specific evidence-based talking point to validate the patient's concerns and support their interest in fermented foods, while gently correcting the false sense of health security that this content creates. Thank you so much for your attention. Here are the references.